Coach Jonas here. Today what we're going to talk about is 6 hip mobility drills for cyclists. Alright guys, so today what we're going to be working on is mobility for the cyclists, specifically hip mobility. If you're on the bike for a long period of time, putting in a lot of miles, what happens is you stay at this constant hip range of motion with this bent hip. So these hip flexors start to shorten a little bit, causing, once you extend back into normal position, your hips also tilt a little bit. This is going to cause your lower back to become in a hyperextended position. One of the main reasons for lower back pain, especially coming off the bike. So today what I'm going to include in this video series is I'm going to include some movement prep and some warm-ups before the bike and before the run. I'm going to include some pre-workout mobility drills to keep those hips nice and loose, and then I'm also going to improve on your strength, the strength of your hips, so that way we can have healthy hips for the long run. Okay guys, so first thing what we're going to do is we're going to do some pre-movement drills. So this is what you do before the exercise, before the cycling, a little bit of a warm-up to hit those end ranges of motion, so that way we don't end up super tight at the end of the bike ride. So first is going to be lunges with a twist. So it's just going to be like regular lunges, keeping your chest up. You're going to take a step, except you're going to twist your torso to the direction of that forward leg. Right here. And so you can do that about 10 each leg. It's going to be opening up the hip flexors. It's going to be opening up and working on all ranges of motion of the hip flexion and extension. Alright, up next, after the lunges, what we're going to be doing is some stationary band work. So we're going to come over here to this band, and I can anchor it down on anything that's stationary, nice and heavy, weighted down. What I'm going to do is I'm going to step one leg in. I'm going to get it as high up as I can. I'm going to take a step back, just like in a lunge position. Now it's going to be a stationary lunge, so I'm going to come down, up. As I get more comfortable, I can put a little more pressure on this leg. Down, up. This is going to be just like the lunges, very similar. It's going to work on oscillating the hip flexor, making sure that is nice and warm before we get started. Now after we've done the warm-up and the workout, what we have now is a cool down, a little pre-workout mobility. So first thing we're going to do is some static stretches. So this is going to be a position where you hold for up to a minute and a half, 2 minutes. First is going to be just a kneeling hip flexor stretch. You're going to take one knee, make sure that your chest is tall, your abs are tight, so you don't want to overextend that back even more. It's a typical position to be in. So you can keep your abs tight. You're going to squeeze these glutes. You want to feel good, stretch nice in the front. Now this is a position you can keep for about a minute and a half to 2 minutes. Remember, if you've been cycling, especially longer distances, it's going to take more than just 30 seconds to reverse those effects. So, nice tall chest, abs tight, glutes contracted. Should feel good, nice stretch in that hip flexor. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take it to the next level, and we're going to use a banded distraction for that same hip stretch. So, you're going to get that band just like you did in the pre-mobility drill. You're going to get it nice and high up on your thigh. You're going to step back, place that knee. Now make sure you don't have too much pressure. You want to be able to stabilize, keep that core stable, glutes contracted, nice and tall, okay? You're going to feel good stretching that hip flexor. This is going to help get into deeper than just the musculature, but actually the joint stiffness. It's going to help come in and loosen all that stuff in the actual hip joint. Okay, so now that we've done the pre-work and the post-work mobility, I want to talk about some strengthening exercises when you're doing your strength training routine. So the first exercise that I'm going to give you all is called reverse lunges. It's just like the lunges we've been doing. We've been doing a lot of lunges. Like I said, it works on both the hip extension and the flexion. So if you're wondering why so many, that's the reason. So first is dumbbells. You're going to pick these up once again, nice and straight back, chin in, chest up, take a step back, coming back up, back, up, back, up. Okay, so this last drill is going to be called kickbacks. So we're going to be using a band as our resistance, and this is going to be working on the hip extension, that same motion that we're using on the bicycle. I wrap this band midway around my foot, so I don't want it too far on the toe or too far on the heel. I'm going to come down. This band is going to be under my hands and make sure that my body is nice and even. So I don't want my shoulders way back here. I want them right over my palms, okay? So abs nice and tight as always. You're going to kick back, bring it in. Back, bring it in. Back, bring it in. Now this is an exercise that should be done, can be done 15 to 20 reps. Since we're working on a certain type of muscle fiber, we want to work on those slow twitch. We don't want to certainly do 5, 10 reps. We want to do something a little bit higher than that as well. So, alright guys, this is going to conclude our video course on hip mobility for the triathlete, for the cyclist.